Hola.
It's Monday.
Yeah.
We're recording on Monday. It's Tuesday.
Well, yeah.
How you been? I feel like I haven't seen you in ages.
Tired.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Well, that's good. How's not a leg day?
No, I still did things that hurt my legs.
Oh, everyone listening just flame Jaden for always skipping leg day.
No, lately it's been arm day. That's the one I've been mainly missing.
Well, before we talk about this this green cockroach movie.
I like how you just think so hard to come up
The
with
orange
something
scorpion,
so stupid.
the indigo arthropod. Bro, you ever heard of crustaceans? That's a funny sounding animal. um but we've got some new music. We've got a new episode of Ahsoka.
Yes.
And then we'll talk about the indigo arthropod. um, yeah, I'm on one today. Let's start with the obvious. Doja Cat dropped Demons off of her new album that's coming out soon. I think it's called Scarlet. Which, first of all, why is the album covered two ticks? It looks like ticks. Are they spiders or ticks?
I think they're spiders.
I think they're.
I mean, they could be ticks.
Yeah, there's some kind of
Bugs,
arachnid,
yeah.
and they're kissing, and it's gross. It gives me the willies.
Oh,
first
that's
of which,
weird. Bro, what happened to her?
I don't know, because we were talking about that
Yeah.
actually the other day.
Yeah, she's an industry plant. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
it.
It could be. It could be. I mean, I just feel like she's shown so much better talent at different points in her career than these last three songs.
I feel like she just keeps declining though, but people love her more.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's just Taylor Swift syndrome. Like you just sink more into mediocrity and more people like you.
Yeah.
Cause like I'll be honest, like when I hear Doja Cat in her prime, like in her peak music to me, she's got moments where she has like some flair of like the best of Billie Eilish and like the best of Nicki Minaj's flows and like some very beautiful vocal performances, but also like a very unique style in rapping and singing ability that takes it in its own direction, in her own direction, which I think is super cool. But like, why is she trying to be like Playboy Cardi on the hook for no good reason? Like, it doesn't even fit the rest of the song. I was like, oh, okay, she's gonna try to make like some kind of rage song. No, it's not that at all. She just does that on the chorus for like one line for no good reason.
I don't even know if you can call it a song. She doesn't even really like
Do
rap it or like there's no cool vocals. No, she really just says it in some weird way.
Yeah,
like, that's it.
I feel I honestly like because I actually have become a big fan of a lot of her other stuff.
Yeah.
That she's done previously. Like I was listening through some of I can't remember what the Pink album cover is, Hot Pink or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But like there's a couple songs on that one that I really like. And even on Planet Her, which was an album that I didn't think was that good. Like there's some great cuts on it where she outshines people like The Weeknd to me. Like I think her part on that song is better than his, which is saying something.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, Demons is not that good.
No,
so
it's not good at all. I listened to some pretty bad music for, I guess, last week.
Yeah.
For new music. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that might have been the worst one.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes me sad because I do like Doja.
And when she said she was making more of a rap album, I was like really excited because I feel like when she does that, she's shown that she can do it pretty well. And yet, like, kind of always changes right at the moment when I'm like, oh, this is a good rap song. She like starts doing something different,
something wacky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just haven't liked any of these singles so far. So hopefully something cool comes out of this new project.
Yeah, hopefully she just is better.
Yeah. Do you got any songs you wanna start us off with?
Yeah. Van Gogh by JID and Lil Yachty.
I didn't even know JID was on one of those Lil Yachty songs.
Dude, it's their album together.
Did they drop a
Yeah, that's what it's a
combined
part of.
project?
Yeah. The only I didn't even like look at Apple or nothing like that, but um JID announced it on his Instagram live not too long ago.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, it's JID and Lil Yachty.
Hey, what the? I don't even. Is it on Apple?
Yeah,
I don't even see it. I only see Tesla by Lil Yachty. That's strange.
yeah, it's right here. Oh,
Oh,
it's a two track.
oh, and he's just a feature on it. Okay,
Yeah,
that's why it's not showing up on
yeah.
his profile. Okay, okay,
Because I mean, he was talking. So I don't know if this is what he was talking about, but he was
sure.
talking about like a project with
Yeah,
Lil Yachty.
yeah,
Anyway, so yeah. So I guess JID, Babytron, and oh wait, wrong one. Just Lil Yachty and JID.
yeah. The Van Gogh
Yeah,
track.
yeah,
I haven't listened. I'm gonna listen to those.
yeah.
But yeah,
It's a good one. Because you know I'm not huge on Lil Yachty.
yeah,
I don't think he's bad. Just he has a very unique voice and very unique style.
for sure.
But they complement each other very well, which was shocking to me because
Yeah,
JID is this quicker, more intelligent rapper, really like in depth with his bars, and Lil Yachty's more not that way.
yeah.
Like the
They're
opposite. Yeah.
stylistically they're very different. I
Right,
think it's fair to say.
but they complement each other very very well.
Interesting.
I like how they sound together. So I
Cool.
like that's one of the songs I downloaded. Actually, I think it was the only song I downloaded from new music. So
Yeah.
yeah, shout out to that.
I'll go right ahead and talk about this here Lil Wayne track, Cat Food.
Cat food.
I mean, as you can probably assume by the title, it's just like a bunch of innuendos
Yeah.
right after each other. And it's truth be told, it's not like a terrible
Yeah.
song in terms of like the wordplay and the flows and the production, but it's like I've heard Lil Wayne make such better music
Yeah.
and so many better bangers and so much like harder in terms of bars. And even recently, like I've heard him make much better
Yeah.
music than this. And so it just in comparison to like his other works, it just like wasn't worth the download for me. Like
Yeah.
it was okay, but like I just would never see myself coming back to it when you've got a catalog like the Carter 3 or even, you know, if we're talking recent, like Can't Nobody, I
Yeah.
think is a much better single. But
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, I think it's a less good version of Can't Nobody.
yeah, it's
like
very similar production wise. Yeah.
like there were cool bars in there. Like it's nothing new from him,
Agreed.
like flow
Yeah.
wise, style wise, tone, like literally nothing changed. Like it's the exact same. It just felt very lackluster. It felt like not much energy. And that's the kind of decline I see in Lil Wayne is there's just not much energy anymore. Like Can't Nobody was probably the most energy I've heard in a while. And I said this to James, and it's not like a disrespect thing, but James got very, very mad. But he's a feature artist now. Like he is more so of a feature artist, and he does good like at that. I'm not saying that's all he's ever been. He's like to a lot of people, their number one favorite rapper of all time. Like he's up there.
Yeah.
So it's no disrespect to him. Just at this point in his career, why make an entire album at this point when you can go hop on with your buddies and make a bag off that? Like
Sure, but I mean, like I don't think that's like questionable to say. Like,
yeah.
I mean, did you even listen to the album Trust Fund Babies that he did with Rich the Kid?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Like that one wasn't very good. Like Funeral, it has its moments. The Carter 5 has its moments.
Right.
But like if you really like, I don't think it's a hot take to say that his features lately have been better than his solo projects lately.
Right.
Like I don't think that's
just on the
spicy.
last little bit of his career, he's been more of a feature artist, and that's not even like a bad thing.
No,
to be.
I think there's a lot of artists that I would put as like if we were to rank the best rappers this year, I would put a lot of artists in my conversation for best rapper that haven't dropped a project this year. And I don't think it's like, or didn't drop a great album this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, Cat Food, it's mid.
Yeah, it was just whatever.
Yeah.
Like
if you like it, it's cool for you, but I've heard better from him.
Yeah.
What you got next?
Oh, it's called Die Today with Earth Gang and Spillage Village.
Spillage Village.
Yeah. I'm like, I haven't heard much from Earth Gang, and I don't know who Spillage Village is. But we were talking about Earth Gang probably like last week at some point.
Yeah.
And so when I saw this, I was like,
I'll give it a listen.
Why not?
Yeah, sure.
Like, and it's super cool. Like, I didn't download it, but not something I usually listen to, but it was a good listen. Like, I had no problems with it. It was a cool track. Not something I'd come back to, but it was super cool.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. I actually didn't listen to that one. I'll have to give it the old ear test. But my next one that I have is Honey by Maneskin. I don't know why we don't just call him Moonlight on this podcast.
Yeah,
we had a whole big thing about that. Let me say this about this song. Again, I don't think it's like a terrible song. Right. I think it comes across a little annoying if you replay it like right after itself, because the chorus is kind of just a little repetitive in terms of the guitar riffs and the vocal performance. But again, like another group that I've heard them make much better songs than this one, and very recently too. Right. And so it's like I don't really see any incentive to come back to that one. I don't know why. Like, I could see it maybe popping up on like a deluxe version of the last album because it's very stylistically similar. Right. But I didn't think it was anything special. And maybe to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it, it kind of sounds like a song that they had recorded and cut from the project because it wasn't as good as what they felt like the rest of it was. Right. And then now we're just kind of throwing out there to let you listen to. But like, it's okay. And I do think there's some creativity in terms of like some of the vocal inflections at different points through the verses. But I just think it's not that good compared to what I've heard them put out.
Definitely. Yeah. Because I still have, as of right now, them at #1 for album of the year.
Okay.
Like, I still come back to a lot of songs off that. But yeah, this one, I agree. It does sound like something that was just cut from the album. It was decent. Like, I've come to really love the sound of this band. I love the lead singer. I think he has an amazing voice. I like what he does, like experimenting wise, or just like testing your vocal range, I guess, or doing different inflections on your voice or whatever it may be. Like, he does very, very good. But yeah, I agree. It was just, I've heard a lot better from them this year.
For sure. For sure. You got any more for new music?
Dude.
Oh no.
All respect to my man Damian Lillard.
You listened to that Dame Dollar project.
I was going to. Then I heard 3 of the tracks. Dude, and I couldn't. Respectfully, stick to basketball.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even like I don't think he's good or he doesn't have like good bars or anything like that. It's solely his voice. His voice, it does not. And I mean, that shouldn't, matter, but it's way off than anything I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So
I there's a couple of his tracks that I respect from a musical perspective, mostly on his older stuff.
Right.
To me, it sounds like he's just kind of, well, at least on this last project, it sounds like and it takes musicians a while to get to this point, but he's just already at this point financially because of basketball, where it's like you're just kind of paying guys that you respect a lot to jump on a feature with you.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't want to say they don't take him seriously, but like Lil Wayne jumps on there or Rick Ross, and it's like it's not either of their best works. Like you can tell they kind of half wrote it and like phoned it into him and just that was that. But yeah, I his voice certainly isn't for everybody.
I do like some of his older songs though. Like there's probably like 3 songs that I'd say are good.
Yeah, I don't love this new project either from him though. It felt like
a lot.
It felt like a lot and not a lot that was like well crafted from him or his features, to be honest. So
yeah,
that's a fair
sorry,
pick
Dame.
for you. My last song, the only song I downloaded actually this week, Last Time I Saw You by Nicki Minaj.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I've just grown to appreciate her a lot more recently with all of her features that I've enjoyed.
And because all the female artists today are trash.
I wouldn't go so far to say all, but at least the ones we talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like again, I don't think this is her best work, and I don't think even recently this is her best work. But I think it pairs a lot of things that she does very well that accent her or make her stand out from her peers in terms of female rappers. Like there's no female rappers that are able to really sing those R&B notes like she does while also still like spitting some ridiculous flows. And I feel like I got a little bit of those two worlds from her on this track. Like she's singing a lot, it's very melodic at points, and then she has a couple points in it where she's really rapping with some impressive flows. It's pretty dynamic. I didn't really like give the lyrics a full in-depth scan, but I'm sure you know it's decent knowing her. But honestly, what stood out to me, and I really don't want to say this just for the clickbait, but it's like kind of hilarious because we've been talking about it a lot. How is Nicki Minaj like a levels much better singer than Taylor Swift? Like absolutely levels ahead of her. Like how are you gonna let that happen? Like it's astonishing to me. And I don't even really mean that as a disrespect to Taylor Swift, but more just like impressed that with Nicki, who's like, I know from like her flows and verses and features on tracks like Monster by Kanye from the 2010s is like still in this late point in her career hitting these incredible vocal ranges. And again, like I don't think this is her best in terms of that, but I just it highlighted that and reminded me that like, you know, she gets a lot of respect. A lot of people are consider her the GOAT in female rap. But I still don't think the level of respect is as high as it should be for what she's doing. So
see, I thought the song was cool. Didn't download it. I do agree, like great vocals, solid flows. It was more so like I didn't even really pay attention to the lyrics fully, but it was like it was very basic lyrics. And so I was like, okay, well, I've heard Nicki do way better lyrically.
For sure.
So like, why am I gonna listen to this? So that, but other than that, like it's a cool song. I like the vibe of it. The instrumental is cool. I like that Nicki's back because, like, I think it was
she did go on a little bit of
hiatus, I think it was like 2018, 2017. She was like, I'm stepping away from music. Like, I'm done. So to see her coming back
and still putting out something pretty solid.
Exactly. Super cool to see. So
for me, that wraps up new music. You got anything else? Cool. Like I said, we'll always link these songs down in the bio of wherever you listen to podcasts, at least the good ones, because you don't need to hear Demons by Doja Cat.
Nobody needs to hear that.
But I do have a couple artists and some songs I want to shout out for this week that I've been coming back to. One album that I revisited that has just grown on me a ton since it came out. And I kind of had a weird experience with this album because when it dropped, I was very excited for it. Listened to it, kind of immediately understood that this group was going in a different direction, but like it wasn't necessarily a bad direction, but I was like, I'm going to need to like acclimate myself to appreciate this sound from this artist. Heard the album, really liked it. And then it felt like it kind of lost a lot of replay value for me just because it's more of a concept album. But long story to just say that it's an album that's like grown on me again since kind of it lost that replay value. And that is The Pressure Machine by The Killers from a couple years ago. This is an album that I really, like I said, liked when it first came out. And then because it didn't have a ton of replay value for me, and it was like a different, unique sound that a lot of people weren't talking about, I kind of hesitated to like put it in my favorite albums of the year.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a big mistake for me because I really like this album from a concept standpoint.
Yeah.
I think it's very unique. I honestly think even in terms of musical direction for The Killers, it's very different in a good way for them. And I've just been reading a lot about Brandon Flowers, the lead singer, wanting to kind of continue in this direction for the band. And he's talked about how they've made the stadium anthems, and he wants to make something that's going to resonate with smaller crowds and be more personable for the listener in like a listening experience kind of way, and not just be hit after hit, like in terms of radio songs, if you will.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think the interviews on the album are super unique, a great way to kind of fuel the story that you're getting.
Yeah.
The storytelling aspect is very cool, and just I mean, and maybe you kind of have to be from around here to kind of appreciate it, being as that it's talking about like rural Utah town. But anyways, West Hills and Cody are like a couple of tracks that I've been really listening to, coming back to since then. But the whole album's really good.
Cool.
The second one is an older track, relatively. It's from 2015, but a track that, I mean, I haven't really listened to much of this artist, so I'll just say track that gets absolutely a lack of respect for how good it is the song Still Wild by Lamar from 2015. It's very, I don't even know how to describe this sonically. It's like electronic, hip hop, R&B, soul. Like, I don't want to say soul, but it's very interesting. It's a very sonic experience, if that's even like a phrase.
It is now.
But it's very cool. The way I heard it is it made an appearance in a very brief portion of a TV show called Scream in 2015. And I don't think this artist has dropped a song since that song dropped, which is a shame because this is a very good song. And I would think with it being on a TV show, it was kind of going to catapult this artist to something bigger. And the fact that they didn't drop maybe is why, it's not as big as it should be.
Interesting.
Very good song. Been coming back to that one a lot. It's very like mellow, slow, like a song you would want to drive home to and at night. Last song, very, very different than the other two. An artist that we heavily disrespected, but a song that I love very near and dear to my heart from this year, and that's Flooded the Face by Lil Uzi Vert. When this song opened the album, I was like, my gosh, what am I going to hear from Lil Uzi? This is incredible. This is so good. And then the rest of the album was pretty bad. Like, it had a couple moments, but the rest of it was pretty bad. But yeah, a song I really like a lot.
Cool.
So wanted to shout it out. Been listening to that one a lot more lately than I have been the last couple months. So yeah, those are my shout outs for the music this week.
Cool. All right. Well, so the first song that I've been listening to a lot, especially today for no reason, just the chorus gets me super hyped. And once again, for no reason, You Wouldn't Understand by Juice WRLD. I don't know. I just the chorus.
It's there.
It just gets me hyped up. So
very cool.
That's it.
Juice WRLD on the hook. That's all you need. That's all you need to know.
Like, the verses were cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely not his best work.
Fair enough.
Not even close.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But the hook's great.
Cool.
The next song is one very near and dear to my heart. I have a lot of memories attached to this song, and it's One Too Many by Keith Urban and Pink. Back when I was doing construction, just
jamming out.
Yeah. My guy Manny, shout out to Manny. He dude's old. This song would come on.
Disrespect. Catching strays out here. My gosh. Sorry, Manny.
No, that's my guy. Um, but there's like, if you know the song, there's a part where the drums just kick in, and so I love this song, and so I do the drums how they play,
Yeah.
and he would just start cracking up, and so just this song brought a lot of good times, good memories.
For sure, for sure.
And it's honestly it's an amazing song. I love it a lot.
Yeah.
Third song is very different than the other two, but Tales of Dominica by Lil Nas X.
Mm.
I like how mellow he got, how just kind of it felt very down to earth. It
Sure.
felt very, very relatable. With lines like this plastic bed doesn't blow up anymore, or like I live on an island built from faith, and I hope it doesn't fade away. Things like that. It just felt super personal. It felt super relatable. And he has a great voice. Like I honestly wish he did a couple more songs like that. It just felt very real and very, very different than all of his other pop or like pop rap or whatever. Cool. But I love that song. So
all right. Well, those will also be linked down with the songs that we liked from this week, which are pretty minimal. I mean, we might have to like add a couple in there just
for random ones.
Yeah. Just other good songs. Anyways, Ahsoka, the TV show, episode 3 dropped. What'd you think of episode 3?
I'm getting nervous. It felt like more build up. I have a little bit more faith though with this one. Mm-hmm. Because this build up wasn't even like boring or bad. It was just kind of whatever.
It kind of was just that. It was build up, but at least it felt like the direction they were going was interesting.
Right. And it like you can kind of see where they're heading towards. Sure. Like so that's why I have more faith in it. The best part in my opinion was probably when they get to that giant space ring and then they have to like work together again and like get back on good terms to like knock out the I don't even know what they technically are, but the bad guys. Yeah, you got to shoot them down. Yeah,
starfighters.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. I feel like it's hard with a 30-minute episode, and like it's really like a 25-minute episode by the time you get through the intros and all that kinds of stuff. But I feel like it's kind of hard to have a lot happen. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because like you may have like there's kind of like that sequence in space, like that whole like fight and traveling sequence is like more or less like 10 minutes of like it's almost half the episode, it feels like. Yeah. But when you're in like a 2.5-hour Star Wars movie, like a 10-minute star battle doesn't feel like a lot, but when it's half the episode, it does feel like a lot. And then the other half, like you're saying, kind of is just a lot of buildup. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like we're getting pieces of the politics that are very interesting, and like people aren't who they maybe should be, or like, you know, there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. One might even say there's been a secret invasion.
No.
Yeah, no, we won't say that. But kind of honestly, kind of the same idea. Just there's people that are supposed to be who you think they are, and they might not be. Right. But not in like that terms that they're shapeshifters. Yeah. That's not the same.
And I mean they mainly like they really did show that when Hera, I think that's her name. Yeah. Gamora 2.0 was talking to the politicians.
Yeah, the senators or whoever they were. Yeah.
But I don't know if you caught it, but like the main I don't know what she's, the chancellor, whatever she is, but you could tell like she wanted to help, but something's holding her back because it ended up being a no. So it could either be like she was on her side, but the others were just like, no, we don't think it's a good idea. It could be plain as that, but probably not.
That's what I'm hoping, is that like we're gonna get some more interesting developments in terms of like some good plot twists. I think some good foreshadowing occurs in this episode, and I think I'm hopeful it'll be a much better episode in the context of the end of the show. Yeah. But at this point, I do think it's third out of the 3 episodes for me, but because it's just a lot of setup is why I'm saying that.
I do appreciate the 2 storylines, even like it's the same storyline, but two sections of it. It's
Yeah.
Ahsoka and whatever the other
Sabine.
girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like going out, but then Hera's has to stay
Yeah.
back and like
Mm-hmm.
kind of deal with everything on the ground level. So it's
Yeah.
cool to see them working two sides
Sure.
of one story.
Yeah.
So
This might be like a dumb question, but like Hera's talking to her son at one
yes,
point in the
yeah,
episode,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. That's in like the Clone Wars or Rebels, but her husband was a human.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, why is he
Yeah.
just some human dude with green hair? Like, is it really that much more expensive to get the makeup to do that kid's makeup too?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I found
Okay.
out that her husband was human, and then he like died
Okay.
from there.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, and that's where not seeing all of Rebels will get you, I
Exactly.
guess.
Yeah.
But
Right.
that was
The
a
only
that
reason I even knew is because
because that threw you for a loop too.
yeah. Yeah, I was like, who is this kid?
Oh.
Yeah, talking to her about I want to be a Jedi. Shut up.
Oh no. Oh my gosh.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I'm hopeful.
I'm hopeful. I think it's been a much better watching experience thus far
Yeah.
than
You
our
can't have
last reviews.
you can't have two bad new TV shows in a row, right?
I think you can. But I'm glad we haven't. Let's talk about the indigo arthropod, also known as the blue beetle. Shall we?
Let's do it.
Before we jump into spoilers, I don't know if you guys have recorded it or talked about this at all for the pop culture roundup, or if you have any kinds of thoughts or if you can just even say what it is out of 10. How are you feeling about this one, just with a lack of spoilers?
It was cool.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it like a 6.5, a 7, somewhere in that range. Quality was good. I definitely think it was a really good step up for DC.
In terms of like the quality?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like I feel like because I feel like I say this a lot, but I can't tell when CGI is bad unless it's really bad. So I don't know if the CGI was bad. It looked really good to me.
I think it's adequate. I wouldn't say it's like overtly special,
right.
but it's adequate.
Okay, cool. There were a lot of good laughs, and George Lopez's character is really carries with that. And I'm glad that it wasn't cheesy, because I was a little worried that because it was George Lopez, it was going to be kind of weird and like a little corny. But no, I feel like he played very true to the character he was playing. And it fit in very well with like the rest of the family, and like it's like the crazy uncle. Like so his character was
really
super cool.
Yeah.
It was more corny with how much of the idea of family it was going on. Not a bad thing to talk about that, and I don't think it fully distracts from that, like from the main plot or anything, but it got a little bit corny at times. It was cool. I like how creative you really have to be in order for the suit to kind of work. So like, whenever he's making these like super big swords or like ideas of like different blasters, like that's cool to me. I like that idea. I don't see anybody or any other superhero doing that to my knowledge.
Not right now anyway.
Right. But so like it was a super cool idea. I think it worked out really, really good. It kind of felt like a mid movie. It wouldn't be top 5 of the year for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't say so either. I would. When I initially saw this, I think I would have rated it much higher, and the more it sat with me, I think I have rated it a little bit lower, just because I think, not that it hasn't aged well with me, but I don't think I enjoyed as much of it as I thought I did walking out of the movie. I would say it's about a 6 though. Like, a good movie that I enjoyed
Mhm.
that like I think is worth the watch, but again, wouldn't say is one of the best films of this year.
Right.
Um, I will agree with you that I think for a movie that could have been and probably should have been very, very cheesy at a lot of times, it avoids a lot of those very cheesy moments very well.
Right.
I thought one of the ways they did that was with some very well placed comedy. A
Mhm.
lot of that comes from George Lopez or from his sister or
Yeah.
even from him at times. But just like a lot of like good one liners or like people's reactions that make these kind of scenes that would have been like, oh, like
Yeah.
not really like cringy, but just like it would have been a little cheesy. I think it makes those scenes a lot better.
Right.
I also wrote down that George Lopez was one of the highlights
Yeah.
from the film. I'm also gonna butcher this actress's name, but I think the other best
Yeah.
performer was Bruna Marquezine. I
Yeah.
I'm very white. Can't say that name very well. I'm sorry, but point being, she killed it.
Yeah. She did.
That's Jenny Corda for anybody that doesn't know the actress, or if you couldn't tell based on my horrible pronunciation of that name. Um, yeah, she did super good. I really liked her character a lot in the film. Um, yeah, I agree. Like it's a pretty small stakes win. It is very focused on family. Like it doesn't try to be something that it's not and go out to this universe saving
Right.
superhero movie, which is kind of what we get a lot of nowadays. It feels like
Mhm.
so. I respected that a
Right.
lot. And I don't know that there's like, I mean, I really didn't write down too many spoilers, but like, if you're worried about spoilers, now's maybe a good time to
Yeah.
skip ahead or jump off the episode until you have seen the film.
Right.
But I think one of the things that I really liked, kind of continuing off of what I was saying, is just within these small stakes focused on family and within some of these very good acting performances, like you could feel these actors who, aside from George Lopez, aren't super well known actors to
Yeah.
me, gave very passionate performances
Agreed.
and performances that made that aspect of family feel very real and very
Mhm.
believable. Um, like and I guess it's good I said spoilers because like when the dad has a heart attack, for example,
Yeah.
the second time and is while they're kind of raiding the house,
Mhm.
like the sister's like emotional reaction is
Yeah.
very raw and feels very real. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it's written from a script. Like
Yeah.
it feels like she's watching her dad have a
Yeah.
heart
It
attack.
looked like it actually happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite impressive how non-scripted it feels
Yeah.
for obviously a scene that's very scripted.
Right.
Um, anyways, I really liked how passionate their acting performances were,
Mhm.
and I felt like that added a lot of flavor to the movie when I feel like superhero movies can get knocked a lot of the time on the acting quality because it's like, oh, you're just like talking and it's just a cartoon, like real,
Right.
like if you're talking about movies that have a lot of CGI, which this one does. Um, but yeah, anyways, I thought the
Yeah.
acting performances were very good.
See, so I don't know of if the like this is their first movie, like any of the
Sure.
actors or
Yeah.
actresses, but if not, or like this is like still one of their very first, that's what I enjoy about studios when finding new people instead of
Yeah.
how we kind of joke around like, oh, when are we gonna see yeah, Chris Evans as the Hulk,
Yeah.
something like that. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
but so it brings me joy when they bring out brand new people or at least people that
Yeah.
I haven't seen and they kill it. Like put out a great performance
Right.
because I mean I hope that we see some of those people later
Yeah.
on, like in the future.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I feel like it'd mainly be like the younger,
The younger cast.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But
Probably
they
have more of a
they
role.
still all
Sure.
killed it. Like so I do hope to see them in other projects, whatever they may be, but
Yeah.
it does always make me happy when we find new and upcoming talent. So that
For
was cool
sure,
too.
for sure. Another note that I made that I wanted to talk about, um, and largely because we ripped Barbie for a lot of these things, um, I felt like this was a great portrayal or a great example of how to share a social message in a film without like shoving it down the viewer's throat. Because let's be real, there's extreme people on either side of the political spectrum that you know, if you make something that's opposed to their beliefs, are going to hate it just because they're hateful people, right? Most people, however, are probably people like me and you and like most movie viewers who like are generally somewhere in the middle on most things, and like are more on the side of like, hey, let's, you know, all try to be good people. Like it's not really that complicated. Let's just try to be good people. And for me, like I do get annoyed when a message is so over the top and just like forced down your throat that it's like, if you don't see it exactly this way, you're wrong. Or if like you criticize the nuance of something or like want to have more of a discussion about it, like you're wrong. Like for frame of reference, this movie talks about family, like the role of family. It talks about racism, talks about feminism. It talks about socioeconomic status problems, talks about grief, it talks about trauma. And unless you're like, unless like, now that I'm saying that, I can see on your face, like you're realizing like all of these things. You're like, wow, it kind of does talk about all that. But it's not like, oh, you know, here's this big like campaign about it. And like, if you disagree or if you see it a different way, you're wrong. But it's like all of these things are carried and portrayed in such a way that it's like you see where the characters are coming from, and it's like, oh yeah, that's interesting. It's a very nuanced position to express. Or you know, it may be touched on in more of a way that's like, you know, doesn't overtly try to offend people, if that makes sense. Like, for example, I know a lot of people don't come from like what we call like a quote unquote nuclear family, like a traditional family, right? This film very much focuses on that and like the benefit of that to the character. And it doesn't make you feel like if you don't come from that like you're attacked by the film. Like it's just carried and portrayed in a very like understandable way. And like
it's
it
just
makes,
how he
it's just his reality. That's what I'm getting at with this. However, I thought the best example of this was the issue of feminism in the movie, and primarily how that relates to Jenny's character. Because Jenny, like very early on, kind of experiences some sexism in some various perspectives, like kind of gets blown off because she's young and a woman. And also like, you know, when the Blue Beetle character like stands up for her at the beginning, and she's kind of like a little perturbed by that. Like, I'm an executive, like I can handle myself. I don't need a man like stepping in to save me. But also like looking at the big picture of this movie, the Blue Beetle dies if not for Jenny. Like Jenny literally carries the team to get him into the place to like be the hero. And like, I thought that was a very cool way to like show that she's this very powerful executive. She like isn't incapable as a woman. Like she's not just there to be his love interest. Like she's, you know, can handle herself. She's very, you know, capable as a person, as like a teammate or a friend or whatever. But then also at the end, like I loved that. I feel like in a movie like, or in a character like that, it'd be very easy to like, that's her entire arc. And like, she's just the executive. She's just this. And yet, like, she is interested in the Blue Beetle's character. Like, she falls in love with him, and like they kiss at the end of the movie. And like, I feel like too many movies are like either one way or the other. Like, it's either just this character that's just like head over heels for the hero and is like the complete damsel in distress and can't do crap to like add or help in the movie, or they're like the complete opposite and they like completely reject everything that like has to do with, you know, anything of the other character or who's, you know, you would think would be their love interest, right? But I loved that the film didn't feel the need to be like, you know, sending this grandiose message. It's like, no, you can be both of those things if that's what you want to be. And anyways, long speech to just say I really respected the way they shared all of their messages, because there was a lot of them.
See, and like if they were to do it where they are shoving any of that kind of talk down my throat, like I'd call them out too, and I wouldn't enjoy the movie. Like it's not it sucks because it seems like definitely of late it seems like it's a lot of these women-led movies, which I don't want that to be the case. but they push feminism and like, yeah, like whatever, like cool. I'm for you
Yeah,
guys.
it's a
Just
message that you
yeah,
agree with, but like
yeah,
that's kind of what I'm saying. It's
yeah.
like,
No, yeah, I'm agreeing. Yeah,
yeah, like we as people who like agree with that message can still be like bothered by the fact
right.
that it's just shoved down your throat for two and a
Yeah,
half hours.
yeah, yeah. So I basically just I agree. I'm glad that they
Yeah.
did that. So
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it. So that's crazy.
Yeah. I did have a couple of like critiques that I wanted to talk about because while I was very harsh on Barbie for this, I feel like I have to be equally harsh on
Mm,
Blue Beetle for
yeah.
this. That whole existential like afterlife scene when he's with his dad and again in like this universal sea of glass thing, completely unnecessary. Didn't fit the tone of the movie at all. Like I get you want to have an interaction in the afterlife and like you want him to talk to his dad and like come to grips with reality and all of that. It doesn't need to be in some like galaxy sea of, the eternal Thor thing. No, you can just do that in like a way that makes sense with the rest of the movie.
Right. Yeah.
So just so people like see that I'm equally harsh. Like
Yeah.
that was I felt like way out of place.
I thought half of it was ridiculous. I liked the candles. Like I actually
Yeah,
did.
like when they're in the house. And
Yeah.
I think that's totally
I think
fine.
if they would
Yeah.
have kept it in the house, it would have been
Yeah.
perfectly fine. But the
Agreed.
moment, yeah, like they're in the cosmos floating on the
Yeah, and he's
giant
like,
rocket. Yeah.
and then it does like the
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. The whole yeah, that's stupid. Yeah.
Michelangelo.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
That stop.
Um, the other negative for me was something we kind of talked about. Well, not talked about, but like we kind of have hinted at.
Mhm.
The movie's like very derivative of what I feel like the filmmakers were very inspired by
Mhm.
in terms of other superhero movies. Like I'm sure you've seen like, and everybody who's interested in listening to this might have seen social media videos like talking about how this is basically the exact same movie as Ant-Man, like with just a few details changed. It's like a bug themed superhero that, finds an old, steals from an executive, like a rich person. Anyways,
Oh wow.
yeah, there's just a lot of levels where it's like a very similar storyline.
Mhm.
But not only that, it like feels a lot like an early Iron Man movie, in terms of like the suits and the villains and the like we're gonna make a suit army of like
Yeah.
robots and
Yeah, that's true.
hammer tech. Um,
Not hammer tech.
um, I also felt like there was some inspiration from characters like Batman and Superman
Yeah.
being in the DC universe more so than just the mentions they get. I feel like there's a lot of aspects of like, the like Blue Beetle cave and like all the gadgets and
Yeah.
I get that like, Blue Beetle's probably inspired just as a character by Batman. But it did feel like very, I don't know, related it to the Batman films. But the other one was one
Yeah.
you kind of mentioned, and it was Green Lantern, like the whole I can create
Yeah.
whatever you think of. Like the minute I saw that, I was like, why didn't they just make a Green Lantern movie if they want to if they want to do this? Like everybody knows Green Lantern. Why don't you
Yeah.
start there?
Yeah.
Um, I don't think all those things totally detract from the film. I still think it's enjoyable, and I like that it pieced a lot of the best parts together. It for me, it just gets a little bit of a knock in terms
Yeah.
of originality because of that, and not like I said, because all superheroes I feel like, especially nowadays, are inspired by some other
Yeah.
superheroes. But just the fact that so much of the film was taken from
Yeah.
other films
Yeah.
is why.
I feel like it's so hard for superhero movies
Yeah,
like today
yeah.
because everything's been done. Like you're not
See, you
gonna
say that, and I say that because I thought that too.
yeah.
But the Spider-Verse,
Huh?
the Spider-Verse was all of a sudden like this very different movie. And then who's
Uh,
everybody ripping off now? Now everyone's like, oh, that was the cool story. Why haven't we been doing that? Let's go in the multiverse. Point being, I think there's
wow.
ideas out there. I think
But
there are ideas. But
I
yeah,
agree.
back
It's
to
just
back to you. Yeah.
it's so hard to come up with that. Like it, that yeah, that's basically it. Like
Yeah.
it just sucks being in that category. And honestly, I feel like it just kind of sucks being in the movie industry in general. Like everything, not everything, obviously, but
A lot of
everything's been
things.
done.
Yeah.
Like we were talking a little bit ago how it was a great idea that Matt Damon and
Ben Affleck made it
did air.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like that hasn't been done. And
Yeah.
it was a great story.
Yeah.
Like
And it
obviously we
wasn't the
don't have it.
obvious story.
Right.
Yeah.
Like so it's very hard to come by brand new idea.
For sure.
So
For sure.
it does suck for a lot of movies to even try to be creative in any way.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Still not off the hook. I agree. But it was cool.
Yeah. I enjoyed the film.
Like I wouldn't go see it again in theaters.
Yeah, no, I'd watch it again.
But,
I wouldn't pay to see it again.
No.
I do think it's worth a watch if you're interested
Yeah.
in the idea of what we've kind of talked about.
And I still stand by, I think it's one of the better DC movies, especially in recent times.
Yeah, I do think it's a good move for DC.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a good direction. It obviously takes a lot of influence, but I think it takes it in a direction that I could see it being a one and done, and I'd be okay with that. It'd be a little unfortunate, or I could see them building it into something a little bit, kind of like the Ant-Man universe, or like a little bit something down that lane. And I think it gives DC a lot better options than like reboot the entire thing or make Robert Pattinson's Batman your only avenue. Like that's kind of where they were at before this movie, and I feel like they have more doors to open.
Yeah, because I don't know, it felt like it's something you could definitely build off of. Like it doesn't have any correlation to any of the other movies. He mentioned Batman, and like it shows he went to Gotham for school, and like, all this stuff like sick. That was cool. Hoodie, yeah, no, I was thinking the same thing. But I really hope they don't scrap that because it wasn't a bad movie, and like it probably didn't do as good as it wanted money wise.
Sure.
But I know, well, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that it still hit more than how much it costed to make.
Yeah.
So
you're still in the green.
Right.
Yeah. I do think with a movie like that, it's a movie that isn't expecting to make Avengers Endgame numbers or Spider-Man No Way Home numbers or even the Flash numbers.
Right.
And so I think in terms of its expectation, I wouldn't be surprised if it's met its goal. Again, I don't know exactly, but I wouldn't be surprised because it does feel like a smaller stakes film, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Honestly, it's one of the things that I've been wanting more from movies. It's like why to me the Dark Knight series is so good, or the Daredevil TV show is so good. Like
it's not this giant.
Yeah, it's not like oh no, the man with no powers has to go in space and fight alien guy to save the universe.
Yeah.
No. it's just good level. Oh, I forgot to write this down. I really liked the character arc for the villain, the main bad guy. Not the main bad guy. Like, the main bad guy is
the lady or the dude?
Lady. No, the dude.
Okay.
Because I think we get a lot of villains nowadays that are given a backstory that makes you sympathize with them.
Mm-hmm.
How they resolve that generally is like they die.
Yeah.
Or like end up going like basically like they kind of stick to their guns regardless, like because they have a reason, and go to jail or or die or whatever it is. I liked that they gave him a positive story arc to end on.
Yeah.
Where he was like, you see all this tragic backstory and everything he's had to go through. And then he comes to the realization of like, this isn't who I want to be. Like, I don't want to be the bad guy in this story.
Right.
And like kind of takes it into his own hands to become, heroic in a context. So I really like that. I thought it was unique because there's characters that we all resonate with and sympathize with, whether that's, Killmonger or Thanos, I guess, if you want to say that. But I don't know. It's or Michael Keaton's Vulture was the one that I was trying to think of. Vulture was a very understandable villain, I feel like. But anyways, I liked that story arc for him. It was cool. Unique for me.
Yeah. Cool.
That's what I got.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. I'm honestly surprised we talked that long about the movie.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always get worried about movie reviews because I don't know how like
Yeah.
much I have to say. So I just kind of like hope that you have a lot to say every time. Unless it's like
Oh.
something crazy like the Barbie movie, or if like we were to go see Endgame when we like
Sure.
have this, but
Maybe we'll have to dive into like the 4 Avengers movies one of these days, and like
mm,
that'd be an interesting discussion. I feel like
that would.
because
I've been thinking
let's be honest, they're all mid. I'm just kidding. I just wanted to see what your reaction would be.
Gave you the side
The
eye.
stank eye.
I want to revisit the second one because I hate it.
Ultron.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
want to
I
know
don't really
why I
love
hate
that
it.
movie either, but I absolutely love James Spader's portrayal of Ultron.
Dude, it
He's
creeps
so
me
cool
out.
to me.
It creeps me out.
Yeah.
I don't like the whole like got no strings on me.
Yeah, that
I,
part's
yeah,
creepy.
I don't like
Yeah.
that. It's a little
Um,
Pinocchio.
it does have a lot of
Creepy.
bad moments. Anyways, maybe
Not the
we'll save
point.
that discussion for soon.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, hey, we have come up with a new
Idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Is that it? I think that's
I
it.
think that's it.
We might be talking
Gran
Turismo next week. See maybe if we about putting out a schedule for episodes for the next little bit.
We can
Now that
try.
it's September, it's
The
so
last
touch
time
and
we
go
did
because
that,
like we were like, oh, this is our plan, and then Joyner Lucas didn't drop his album,
and then Gran Turismo came out
didn't
3
come
weeks
out.
later.
Came out way later than I thought it did, and then we did TNT with the pop culture roundup, which is good. Like that actually was when we scheduled that episode, so that worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Pretty
so
funny.
we'll see if there's anything moderately concrete. I'm excited to talk about this Olivia Rodrigo album, to be honest with you.
When is it?
A couple weeks, 2 weeks.
I'm not excited.
I'm not excited to listen to it. I'm excited to talk about it though. I feel like you've got a lot to say about it, which is I'm looking forward to hearing.
It sucks because I really liked her before.
Yeah.
But not even for music. I liked her in High School Musical, the musical series.
Mm.
Yeah.
It was
yeah, I mean, there's no need to.
Okay.
It was cool. It's
all right.
I know for a fact it's not a show you would ever want to watch.
Yeah.
It's like Disney Channel.
Okay.
Yeah. But it caught my attention. So.
Yeah, don't count on me watching that.
But now she's annoying. She just kind of gets on my nerves.
Yeah. I feel like we should just talk about things we hate all the time.
I think so.
We just become like angry people on this podcast. Like next week, let's just watch all of the Twilight movies and just come back super upset.
It's actually one movie franchise I'll never watch. I refuse.
Dude, the only good part of that movie franchise is there's like 5 minutes where they're chopping everybody's heads off, and it's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're all like super ghouls. I don't know what, like they're not heroes, they're not creatures, they're just like ghouls. They're
just kind of there.
Yeah, they're just kind of things.
Yeah.
Well, apologies for if you're still here listening to our little end of the episode discussion, but yeah, we might have an episode schedule. We might not.
Well,
who knows?
We don't.
We might talk about Gran Turismo next week. We might not. Stay tuned.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah. But yeah, follow us on social media. We've got our top 5 TV shows up on social media right now.
Dude, we gotta stop being like the same.
Yeah, it is kind of identical, which is odd.
Yeah.
Maybe it's why
I blame
have
you.
these conversations.
You've made me the way I am.
Yeah, I'm ready to
just start saying ridiculous.
I'm ready to go home.
You are home.
I know.
Oh, we're saying bye.
Hello.